the single most accurate launch monitor on the planet. That's our objective. All launch monitors, they have their pros and their cons, and they have blind spots or whatever, right? And we're working aggressively with AI to eliminate as many of those blind spots as possible to get the full 9-axis spin measurement. So we're not calculating your ball distance and trajectory. We're measuring that, right? We want to be as accurate as possible because, I mean, we're TruGolf. We want to be true to the sport.
Hey, I've got a great one for you here today. I'm super excited about this interview because if you love to invest in fun stocks, this one is for you. Look, bottom line is we all love to be in the indoors and the outdoors. Thanks to COVID, we have come up with some really creative ways to take some of our fun things that we do outside and bring them inside. And there's companies that were around a long time before COVID, but they were able to hone in, and iron sharpens iron. And through that tough time, they were able to optimize their business models. Now, I don't even know if that's the case for this company, but as a third party reading their news, that's the takeaway that I had. We're going to talk to TruGolf right now. They are on the NASDAQ under the ticker symbol TRUG. We are lucky enough to be joined by, I think, the coolest title I've ever seen so far, which is the Chief Growth Officer for the company, and that's Brenner Adams. Brenner, thanks so much for making time for us today, and welcome to the show.
Stuart, thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you and appreciate the opportunity to share some of our excitement.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is exciting. I looked at the recent news, which we're going to jump into here in a moment. And, things are really going well for your company. And I know I made that whole diatribe at the beginning about maybe COVID was what brought this company into the forefront. But there's a lot of us that have been to facilities where we can do our golf on the indoors, whether it's testing out a new club or it's having fun with our friends at a certain franchise out there. Tell us a little bit about TruGolf, who you're marketing to, what the verticals are that you operate in.
Perfect. Appreciate that. I'll start, Stuart, first off, that TruGolf's been around developing software for golf for 40 years. So definitely not a COVID inspired, but COVID assisted. So while we were all indoors, there was a great opportunity for people to golf, whether that was in their own home, as we make simulators for the home, or in a commercial facility, 2 or 3 bays side by side. We have products and solutions for each of those implementations. So yes, COVID helped us. And it really helped the sport of golf enable more golfers to really explore playing indoors, playing off-green grass. And so we can talk a little bit about the macroeconomic trends there in relation to the golf industry. Pretty exciting stuff. But in general, TruGolf, since 1983, has been making software for golfers. That company, or the division of PC gaming, was sold to Microsoft back in 1999. That team actually became a development studio for Xbox. So I had the great pleasure of joining that team post acquisition and helped launch the Xbox. We made a snowboard game for the Xbox and a tennis game for the Xbox, and launched Xbox Live, and Xbox 360. It was a great run, but spun some of those resources off and out of Xbox to then double down and develop the golf simulation space. So not mouse and keyboard, but really swinging a true club in a true environment, and replicating true golf courses, thus TruGolf. So as we've spent years slavishly working on software, adapting some hardware as well, but really we spent the bulk of our history building software. Most people would recognize us by our software brand E6 or E6 Connect, which has been in the market for about 5 years. We've got 100 golf courses there that we slavishly rebuilt in as much detail as we can, right? Like 2 inches on the fairways, 2 centimeters on the greens, as close as we can get to the real physics. And that includes temperature and weather and elevation and wind, and just everything you can think of to replicate that experience. We have many people who say, look, before I go play Pebble Beach, I'm going to go to a simulator for 90 days and just practice and play. So when I get on the course, I've tried all the wind conditions, all the humidity conditions, I'm ready for anything, right? So that's one of the great benefits of being able to simulate golf, is to try to gain the 10,000 hours of golfing before you go outdoors. And we all know that outdoor golf has its challenges. It's beautiful. It can be frustrating because I'm not a good golfer. But as you practice, as you train, as you experience the course that you're going to play, it enables golfers to have such a better experience when they do get that rare opportunity to go outside and play some of these amazing world-class courses. So TruGolf has been focused on the hardware and the software for many years, hardware a little bit more recently. And because E6 Connect is something that can be played on 90% of hardware, so a lot of our, we call them co-opetition, a lot of our friends in the industry, their users will buy our software. So we're gathering data across almost every single hardware device as we've become kind of the de facto operating system for golf. So that's been a lot of fun to be able to work with other hardware groups and get golfers from all over the world and every different price point in hardware to be able to be unified and play golf together, cooperatively, competitive, what have you, on our software. So that's kind of what TruGolf does, what we've done in the past, and then what we're adding to the future. Pretty excited about some new hardware, some new software, new direction with franchises. You alluded to some of our news that's come out recently. And as we expand the ability for people to play indoors, enable them to improve their golf game, we're really focusing on our mantra, which is golf easy. Golf is not easy. We want to make it easy, right? And so if you can swing easier, if you can swing more comfortably indoors so that you have a better time outdoors, then our mission's accomplished.
Yeah, and you know what? You brought up points I didn't even think about. I mean, look, if you're playing Pebble Beach, the green fees alone are astronomical. The hotels that you stay in Carmel, astronomical. The airfare to get there. It makes so much sense to want to, I don't know, warm up a little bit virtually. And with the VR headsets and everything we have at our disposal now, you know, it's getting cooler and cooler. And what I mean to say is it's getting more and more accurate with, like you just said, I mean, we're getting the whole thing. We're getting the wind, the weather, everything all dialed into what's happening with us. And so you just gave us a huge overview on your company, the origin story, the prequel, the sequel, the whole thing. So let's learn about that team that kind of came over and was assembled. Talk to me a little bit about the team behind this company right now.
Perfect. Great segue. It's very interesting that our co-founder and our CEO, Chris Jones, was one of the original co-founders back in 1983. And then, you know, as I mentioned, sold the PC division. So he's been doing digital golf since 1983. He's loves golf, also loves tennis. He's very passionate about outdoor activity, but we're from Utah, based in Utah, and there's just 6 months out of the year where you're not golfing in Utah, right? It just doesn't happen. And so to feed that addiction, digital golf has always been something that he's been focused on. So Chris has been heavily involved since back then, and still to this day really drives the vision for TruGolf and where we're going from a hardware and software perspective. We also have, so I've recently joined just in the last 2 years, but there have been very many long-standing leadership here at TruGolf. We have a group of vice presidents from a technology perspective in Chris Kelly, to an artistic perspective in Jake Johnson, who have been building these courses and working on these physics with our own proprietary engine for years. And so that longitudinal knowledge base of not only golf but digital golf really enables us to maintain that leadership position when it comes to software, right? This isn't a new foray for us. We've been doing this for a long time. The other co-founders, so Steve Johnson, our chief hardware officer, was involved early days, not quite 1983, but very close, I think closer to 87, 88, and has been focused on the simulation side ever since. So grateful to have him. And Dave Ashby, who was head of sales, has really been helping us for many, many years from that perspective. But probably one I would call out, as you know, as we've gone public recently, that required us to create a board, a much larger board, and an independent board or independent majority board. And one of the new board members that we're pretty excited about is a gentleman named Riley Russell. He was for 30 years the chief legal officer for Sony Entertainment. And so from a digital entertainment perspective, from an online gaming or esports perspective, he's the most accredited human on the planet when it comes to that, right? He's amazing. So when I first originally asked him, hey, would you join our board? He just put his hands on his head and said, I would serve on your board for free, out of just sheer embarrassment that I didn't think about golf as the ultimate esports experience 10 years ago at Sony, right? We were talking about all different kinds of esports but golf is turn-based and it's beautiful and it's slow play. I mean, it is made for, shame on me. Anyway, he's fantastic. So we're grateful to have him on the team. And then to represent the other side of the kind of console wars, we have AJ Redmer from Xbox. So pretty excited to have him on board as well. So we got a good team, got a good board, and we're pretty excited about leveraging that knowledge base and all of that historical information in order to drive new products and new innovations that make it easier to golf at home and play golf faster, easier, improve your golf game and your golf swing, and enjoy more opportunities. Not just golf, we've got a multi-sport arcade product where we've got football and baseball and hockey and soccer and dodgeball with zombies. And
Mm,
it's almost like a Dave and Buster's in a box, right? So
yeah.
there's some pretty cool things that we can do when you have a 14, 15-foot screen and a high resolution projector and a powerful PC. It gets pretty fun.
Yeah, and I've been doing the let's call it electronic golf all the way back. I can't even remember the first gaming unit I was playing, but we're talking 90s, early 90s that I was playing, and I followed it all the way up with Tiger Woods Pebble Beach, and now I've got a VR headset, and I like to play golf. And to your director's point, your independent director's point that came over from Sony, golf is an addiction. It is different. So yes, shame on him for not figuring this out sooner, because it just plays differently. And the other one that just plays differently is baseball. If you think about, kids are getting younger and their dads are trying to get them better, hand-eye coordination, which we see the VR is great for that as well. So I'm looking at the news for your company. I want to know about the milestones as you see them here for 2024, and you can go back to 2023 if you feel like it. But what jumped out to us and why we reached out to your company was this news: the TruGolf announces global franchising with Franchise Well to accelerate growth. So you've got the genie in the bottle. You just want the genie out of the bottle and the whole world to know about it. And to reach that faster, you've brought on this partner, Franchise Well. Let's talk a little bit about that relationship.
Perfect. So I'll start with that and then cover some of the ground on 23, 24, some of those milestones. But a big one really is franchise. And as we've looked across the general landscape, not just in the US, but globally, a lot of these big simulators that we typically sell, they're 15 feet wide, 10 feet tall, 20 feet deep. It's hard to put that in everybody's home, right? It's hard to get that in immediate proximity to everybody. So in order to facilitate the offsetting of us losing 100 to 130 golf courses every year, right? They're just, we have less golf courses, we have more golfers, we have to figure something out. And so given that, how do we get more golfers having more fun, improving more? The only way to do that is land grab, right? How do we get more golf opportunities for golfers all over the world? So franchise is a great mechanism to allow us to grow quickly, cover a whole lot of ground, and bring golf out to everyone else. We're super grateful for Topgolf for having introduced a lot more net new people to golf and allow them to swing a club and play Angry Birds or some of these other experiences, right? But now that people have swung a club maybe 30, 40, 50 times, what's next on their trajectory? It's not just go to a municipal course. That absolutely, we love that, but there's got to be another opportunity for them to play casually if you'd like, or maybe take some lessons. And so the franchise opportunity for us with Franchise Well has just been phenomenal. So Franchise Well developed a regional developer model for ExxonMobil many years ago that enabled them to scale doors dramatically faster than a traditional self-owned or franchise model. So we're excited to have announced our partnership with them to dramatically grow the number of doors where people can participate in digital golf so that we can improve their experience and their appreciation for the true sport of golf and the game of golf and their ability to connect with other people and do online tournaments or local tournaments, league play, all those fun things that you can do in an indoor environment, let alone golf 18 holes in 30 minutes while eating a pizza and having a soda, right? There's just so many benefits to having a fast, fun golf experience that the franchise experience allows us to deliver on. So that we're excited about that and grateful for Franchise Well, and they have 2 of 6 people with a PhD in franchise in the world. So they actually teach franchise to other people. That they're just legends in their space, and we're grateful for that partnership. So
Okay.
as we grow that franchise, that's our third pillar in our 5-pillar strategy is franchise. But what really makes franchise possible is a huge milestone that we achieved in 2023, and that is introducing an entirely new ceiling mounted launch monitor called Apogee. And that Apogee device is something that, as I mentioned, we've done hardware in the past. We've got TrueTrack 2, TrueFlight 2, a couple of different hardware solutions, but we really wanted to do something that was revolutionary in the space. With the advent of Siri and Alexa and voice control, our launch monitor on the ceiling allows you to control your golf experience with your voice. You can mulligan, you can move the pin, change your golf clubs. That, along with a laser indicator that tells you exactly where to put the ball and turns off when the game's ready to go or the system's ready to play. So we're trying to make it easy. We talked about golf easy. So how do we make it easy to operate, easy to own, easy to maintain? And that milestone in 2023 by rolling out Apogee was significant and paved the way for us to be able to roll out a franchise program with our own proprietary hardware. And much like kind of the Reese's peanut butter cup model, Apogee's great on its own from a chocolate perspective, but maybe I should say the hardware is the peanut butter is probably a better analogy, and the software is the chocolate. And so the peanut butter is fantastic. We did announce a couple of weeks ago a license and a right of first refusal to purchase an artificial intelligence company, ML Spatial, that's worked with us for about 9 months to take AI into that hardware device to make sure that we can become over time the single most accurate launch monitor on the planet. That's our objective, right? All launch monitors, they have their pros and their cons, and they have blind spots or whatever, right? And we're working aggressively with AI to eliminate as many of those blind spots as possible to get the full 9-axis spin measurement. So we're not calculating your ball distance and trajectory. We're measuring that, right? We want to be as accurate as possible because, I mean, we're TruGolf. We want to be true to the sport. Anyhow, so that's a 23 milestone that we're pretty proud of and excited as we roll Apogee out to more and more users every single day. But that peanut butter is so much better when you add some chocolate to it. So just last week, we officially released Apex Range, which is the first phase of a revolutionary new software suite that builds on the legacy of E6 Connect. It's a very powerful set of visual upgrades. One of the things that TruGolf's been famous for, E6 Connect has been famous for, is photorealistic courses. And they're not photos, they're actual 3D modeled and rendered courses, so you can get amazing physics, right, to make it true to the sport. But the graphics were quite good. It was a photographic type of execution. This now with Apex, we're moving into more cinematic quality visuals with fully rendered landscapes in the background from mountains, the sun moving, dynamic shadows and lighting, fish in the water, butterflies in the flowers, natural wind and movement of the plants and the fauna and the trees. It's unbelievably gorgeous. We previewed Apex in a lot of its glory at the PGA show back in January, but we released last Thursday the new Apex Range, which is that first installment, and we're pretty excited about it. We've had a couple of really good reviews, and so that's a milestone in 2024 that we're pretty proud of. That if you take the peanut butter and the chocolate and put it together, that then gives you the foundation for a franchise concept that is just awesome.
Well, I got to tell you, it's either the worst analogy ever or the best analogy ever, because I really need to wrap this up so I can go have a Reese's peanut butter cup before too long. But thank you for that. I'm starving. Wonderful deep dive you've given us so far here today. Let's leave it off, though, with what are the operational goals then? What would you like to see your company achieve this year, whether it's development with the software and hardware, whether it's development with the franchise? I'm sure it's probably all the above. Take it away.
It is. So quickly said, that first version of Apex that is out, we're developing on that and adding more gameplay modes, more challenges, more abilities to improve your game. We've signed the #1 golf coach and teacher of the year, Joe Hallett, to help us develop some of these training modules, and we're bringing in AI to make that even better. So that's one thing, reinvesting in or continuing to invest in the software. And later this year, we're rolling out the Apex course in Q4, and we'll have every golf course in the world digitized within the next 2 years, probably. So we'll come out with 5,000 golf courses all at once. We're pretty excited about rolling out those on-demand courses and having access to every golf course in the world. So that's a big one for this year. Franchise, obviously, rolling out as many doors as we possibly can this year. But from an investor perspective and a business fundamentals targets, for us, it's really about growth and profitability. And so we are investing heavily, but the majority of our investment has happened in the last 2 years. That's why I said we're grateful and we're proud to have released Apogee and all the investment that went there. And we're happy to have released Apex this year. So now it's really about deploying those resources and hitting that growth and hitting that profitability so that we can deliver to shareholders significant value and significant growth over the coming years.
So I'll leave you with this, Brenner, and get your thoughts on this really quickly as well. And you touched on it already, and you did a great job of kind of alluding to this fact. But bottom line is we have more and more golfers coming out today. We have less and less opportunity and more difficulty getting to the outdoor course. And that has got to be leading to the boom in these indoor golf activities and these VR and everything else we're seeing that your company is a part of. I mean, that's only going to go further in my, I mean, we're going to need some of this land for public use soon, as opposed to a private golf course. What are your thoughts on that?
I think there's a fundamental shift there that we absolutely need to accommodate more golfers, but it's not just replacing the outdoor experience. It's almost like an augmented reality experience, because not only are you golfing and try to mimic reality, but the data that we're giving you from every swing, Apogee enables you to see your club face coming through and striking the ball. So many of us are horrible at golf, and we get to see what we're doing wrong every time. And it's not just my buddy I'm golfing with saying, oh, you know what you did is you hit it fat. Okay, thanks, but I don't know how to fix that, right? So having data, having visual reinforcement, having some tools to improve your golf game makes such a difference to augment what you would typically have outdoors, right? So the experience needs to become much more rich indoor golfing than just outdoor golfing. So it's really not a replacement. It's how do we drive more value for golfers? And that's bearing numbers in the industry. The National Golf Federation has said that the number of rounds of golf last year that were performed off course far exceeded the number of rounds performed on course, right? And so that includes Top Golf and other areas, but we used to say, oh, someday indoor golf's going to pass it. Well, that someday was 2022. And this last year, it was not quite double, but it's amazing to see how many people golf indoors as well as golf outdoors. So they're doing both. And it truly is accepted as a tool in your arsenal to improve your golf game and improve your golf game outdoors.
What a great time to be taking a look at TruGolf. That ticker symbol again on the NASDAQ, TRUG. You've got to add this to your watch list. Do your due diligence. Take a look at the news flow for the company. Hit those financials like we always tell you to do. Brenner Adams, the Chief Growth Officer of TruGolf, ticker symbol again, TRUG. Website, TruGolf.com. And that is spelled TRUGOLF. And now we're going to take off and get our sponsorship ready for Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Brenner, thanks so much for your time today, bud.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Stuart.
All right, for Brenner Adams, this is Stuart Smith saying take a deep dive on that ticker symbol, TRUG. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Come on, people. We want your comments on this company.